Clippers. Well, they're tied into this next story because after 2 unsuccessful years, Bradley Beal is now moving on from Phoenix. According to Shams Charania, Beal has agreed to a contract buyout and plans to join those Los Angeles Clippers, the aforementioned Clippers, on a 2-year, $11 million deal after he clears waivers. He will join a starting lineup that includes Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. So now the question is, are the Clippers the new best team in California? And this morning, Perk, you had pretty strong sentiments, or lack thereof, I guess, of what this move actually does for the Clippers. So are the Clippers the best team in California?
Hell no. Hell no. Give me a team in California that has culture, that has foundation, that has stability, and that has a reliable superstar that's not disgruntled, and that's the Golden State Warriors. No drama from the Golden State Warriors right now. Obviously, they're dealing with Jonathan Kuminga and what they're going to do, but when it comes down to their big three, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, I trust them more for those guys leading the way than any other team that's in the state of California, and that includes the Lakers alongside the Clippers. I don't trust the Clippers like that when it comes down to are they going to be there. There's too many question marks. Over the last 5 or 6 seasons, Bradley Beal has played 60 games one time. Kawhi Leonard, we know he could come into the season and that knee could be bothering him again. We don't know what to expect out of him. Again, James Harden, great regular season guy, but we see him fold like clean sheets in the postseason like he did against the Denver Nuggets in the Game 7. So if you asking me who's the best team, I'm going with the team that's led by Steph Curry. I'm going with the team that has a top 5 coach in Steve Kerr in the Golden State Warriors, that they just got Jimmy Butler back, because things probably would have looked a little bit different if Jimmy Butler wasn't injured and Steph Curry wouldn't have went out with that hamstring last postseason. Get this team a full training camp together, and I've got the Golden State Warriors as the best team in the state of California.
Kawhi Leonard played in 37 games this past season. Wendy, I see you over there nodding like you're sitting in the service.
Well, Perk is making good points. I'm going to be taking a position against him here.
Ooh.
And I don't like it because I just agree with a lot of what he said. I think the Clippers have an incredible opportunity here. Look, Perk, you are right. There's no possible way that you can trust Kawhi Leonard. That said, the Clippers finished this last season when Kawhi was healthy 18-3. And I know that you raised earlier in the show, you raised the concern about their defense. And look, man, I can't talk you out of that. I think you're making a good point there. But they were a really good defensive team all last season, and that's because they're well coached and they play incredibly hard. They play with great defensive energy. And, you know, Ivica Zubac might win the Defensive Player of the Year this year. Chris Dunn and Derrick Jones Jr. are very good defensive players. They have good defenders. They may not have the defensive depth of a team like Oklahoma City. That's true. Nobody does. But this team finished very strongly. And look, they lost that 7-game series to the Nuggets by the skin of their teeth. If Aaron Gordon doesn't have that miracle dunk in Game 4, I don't know how this series goes. I think the Clippers have really put themselves in a great position. But Monica, I want to say there's 2 giant unknowns. Number 1, we don't know who's going to be on the Warriors roster. Are they going to finish the deal with Al Horford? I think probably. Are they going to get Jonathan Kuminga back or sign and trade him for something of value? I think one of those 2 things is likely. So the Warriors can improve their hand. And the biggest question I would argue in the entire Western Conference is, what Luka Doncic is showing up for the Lakers. For the previous 5 years, Luka Doncic was top 3, top 4 for MVP. A lot of people thought last year's the year he won the MVP. Last year, largely due to injury, he had a down year. If he comes back and is the MVP Luka, or is MVP winning Luka Doncic, we're talking about a whole different situation in LA. But I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what kind of condition he's going to be in to start the season.
I'm going to go with Wendy.
Can I give you a requirement in your answer, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
You got to use a Perkism. I know you got that stuff. You got that Southern in common. But go ahead.
I would say this right here. When it comes to the Golden State Warriors,
okay,
and their big man, dead bird, tall grass, they don't have one. One thing I know about the Western Conference is that you better have a really good big man, because when I look at OKC, They have it. When I look at the Rockets, I look at the Denver Nuggets, I look at Minnesota, even Memphis. Everybody has a big man but the Golden State Warriors.
That's true.
So when you play the Los Angeles Clippers, who is going to guard Zubac? Who's going to guard Brook Lopez? Because they have a backup big man now as well. I also look at the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors last season and how quickly we forget that the Warriors went 0-4 versus the Clippers. How quickly we forget, Big Perk, dead bird, tall grass. You better have a big man in the Western Conference. I'm going with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Well, they do have a few big men over there. One, Draymond Green. The reason that he's arguably one of the greatest defensive players of all time is because he changed the game, right? We're talking about a guy in the last 20 years that, arguably has been the greatest defender that we've seen over the last 20 years. That's number one. Number two, you ever heard of the term player development, right? When you look at a guy like Quentin Post or a guy like Jackson Davis, Oklahoma City Thunder showed us, and the Indiana Pacers showed us how crucial it is for player development. Harry, let me ask you a question. Did you know who Jalen Williams was? Did you know who Jalen Williams was before the playoffs started? And I'm not talking about J-Dub. I'm talking about the other one that came in off the bench. Did you know him?
For OKC, yes.
Yes. Did the world know him?
No.
No, they didn't. But they got to know him.
We're talking about OKC, their development.
No. What we're talking about here is we're talking about culture and player development, and what we're also talking about is that we have to move on from all this stuff in the past with these household names. When you bring up a guy like Brook Lopez, who's been, over the past 2 seasons, been getting cooked in the pick and roll because he can't slide those puppies, right? We got to start acknowledging these other guys that make, like a guy like Jalen Williams, who made a name for himself in the postseason when he was called in off the bench to guard a guy like Nikola Jokic and did an excellent job in his role, and all of a sudden they win a championship and he gets a contract extension. When you have leaders like Steph Curry, like Draymond Green, like playoff Jimmy, then everybody else raise their level of play, is what I'm trying to tell you. So don't sleep on the Golden State Warriors. It's too many unknowns when you talk about the Clippers or you talk about the Lakers. We don't know if LeBron James is healthy when it comes down to when it comes down to Lakers. We got to question whether or not Luka Doncic is going to come in shape. We got to question whether or not DeAndre Ayton is going to do the little things at the center position that don't show up in